In this video, you will learn the main movement mechanics of Black Ops 2 Zombies and how to put them all together to move around in the fastest way possible. Movement is so important in Black Ops 2 speedruns, and the top players use tech that most people don't even know exist. I'll be breaking it all down, from basic strafing to b-hopping and other important stuff. Before we start, I just want to let you guys know that being on controller puts you at a pretty serious disadvantage when it comes to movement. You can still do most of the mechanics, just not nearly as well as on keyboard. To get started, let's talk about how FPS affects your movement. FPS doesn't affect your base movement speed at all. You'll always go the same speed on flat ground. That's 190 velocity going straight, left, and right, 162 going backwards, and sprinting is 285. FPS does, however, affect your gliding speed in the air. And if you know anything about speedrunning in this game, you know that the most optimal way to move is by strafe jumping. I'll get right into that after this. But basically, all you gotta know is that the higher FPS cap you set, the slower you'll end up being in the air. I personally play at 90 FPS, but some players prefer playing at 60 because movement is slightly better than 90 FPS in a trade-off for those lost frames. Those two values are pretty much the only viable options on Black Ops 2 in my opinion. Anyways, to do a strafe jump, you gotta understand what strafing is. Strafing is when you hold W and either A or D, whether you're going left or right, and you move your mouse in that same direction. Notice how when I do this, my velocity is going way over the normal sprinting speed of 285. You can use this to your advantage in a few ways. You can do what is called ground strafing, which is when you strafe one way, then the other, repeatedly and very quickly so you end up going in a straight line, much faster than you normally should. Or you can strafe jump, which is basically just jumping mid-strafe so you retain that strafe momentum in the air and glide at that faster speed. These are the two core mechanics of Black Ops 2 speedrunning that are the most important for speedrunners to be able to do correctly. Let's go over strafe jumping, then ground strafing in detail, and after that I'll go over the rest of the mechanics that are good to know. To strafe jump effectively, there are a few things to keep in mind. Make sure you keep your directional keys pressed the entire duration of the jump to not lose momentum, and also make sure your mouse movement isn't a flick. It should be a gradual ease with the jump and not a flick or you'll lose speed. In the description, I'll link a video on how to set up this velocity meter because seeing your velocity helps improve your strafes. If you're struggling with anything in the video, by the way, feel free to send me a DM or ask for help in my Discord. The link is in the description. I've probably helped over 50 individual people at this point since my Black Ops 3 movement guide, and I do like helping you guys, so don't be shy. Anyways, just try to copy my inputs and jump timing relative to my mouse movement. But if that isn't working for you right away, just keep trying. Sometimes it takes a bit to figure out. A good strafe should peak at around 340 to 370 on the velocity meter. 340 is a good number to aim for starting off. You might notice that on maps like Mob of the Dead, it's really hard to utilize strafe jumping to its full potential because of all the doorways and other obstacles you hit your head on. To avoid that, you can crouch during your strafe jumps. This makes you smaller so you don't hit those obstacles during your jumps. It's probably best if you get used to crouch strafing on every jump actually. It's a good habit to form and that's why most speedrunners crouch in their strafes. You'll also notice that after a strafe jump, you'll be at a sprint. Rather than just walking until you can sprint again, it's best to hop twice doing walking strafe jumps as you're landing, because you'll keep a little bit of your momentum on those hops from the original strafe, and it's definitely faster than just walking while waiting for your sprint. The last thing you should keep in mind while strafe jumping is that while you're in the air, you can continue to gain velocity by strafing further. If you continue the mouse movement and keep holding down the directional keys, you'll extend the strafe in the air. Compare this strafe where I stop my mouse movement after jumping versus this strafe with mouse movement. Now that covers pretty much everything you need to know about strafe jumping. For ground strafing, you'll notice that most people kind of just shake their mouse and spam the A and D directional keys and expect it to be faster. And that does work, but the more accurate you are by strafing the right directions, the faster you'll be. For me, it's easier to ground strafe the closer I look at the ground. Ground strafing should be easier to learn than strafe jumping, but once again, send me a DM on Discord if you need help or don't understand something. Now, optimal movement is basically just a combo of ground strafing and strafe jumping, where you just ground strafe into a strafe jump with 2 walking strafe hops to regain sprint, then repeating that same thing over and over. It just gets complicated when it's a tight map like Mob of the Dead or Die Rise for example, where you can utilize other mechanics like wall strafing. This is probably the easiest mechanic to do. You basically just gotta hug any wall and hold down either A or D depending if the wall is to the right or left, then sprint looking straight forward. You should go about 15% faster than normal sprinting this way. The last few things I feel I have to mention in a movement guide are about how the speed of stamina up works, the speed of different held weapons, and finally, special movement with wonder weapons. Stamina up makes you go 10% faster, so it's worth buying in almost every speedrun and it's as simple as that. Weapons on the other hand are a little different. Here's a list of every weapon and their base walking speed in Black Ops 2. As you can see,
Pistols, SMGs, shotguns, and wonder weapons have the base movement speed of 190. Assault rifles have slightly less speed at 180, along with snipers. Then under that, there are LMGs and other heavy weapons. You'll notice the 3 weapons at the top with the fastest movement speed at 209 base velocity, and those are the Chickum, the MP5, and the ballistic knives. It's a really weird selection of guns to be so much faster than everything else, but it's really useful to know for speedruns. The last thing I want to mention is some wonder weapons you can boost yourself with. You can boost yourself with the Raygun Mark II and the Boom Hilda. Most people know this already. You just gotta look behind you, walk backwards, spam shoot and spam jump, and that's basically it for both of those. The special wonder weapon is the Paralyzer. For this, it's actually pretty cool how it works. You basically just do a strafe jump, immediately swap weapons twice really fast to cancel the animation of pulling it out. Then you just look down and levitate, and you can glide like this for a while at fast speeds. Anyways, that's all I think is important regarding movement in Black Ops 2. Movement in this game is very similar to Black Ops 1, and Zaydo has a very good movement guide for that game. Although it is mostly the same info, there are some major differences between the games. I'm also going to say this a third time, but if you're struggling with anything, join my Discord using the link in the description of this video, and send me a DM or ask anyone in the Discord for help. I'm happy to help, and other speedrunners love to help as well. Thank you for watching.